So we have been talking about things that you use to solve right triangles, okay? And you've got SOHCAHTOA, you've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You have 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90, okay? But now we're going to talk about non-right triangles. Triangles that don't have a right angle can be solved by two things called the law of sine and the law of cosine. You can always use one of those to solve it. The harder one of the two is the law of cosine. The easiest one is the law of sine, which is what we're doing today and probably tomorrow. Okay? So the law of sine has two formulas to it, two sets of formulas. And the formulas are one to find the area of a non-right triangle, and the other formula is to solve a non-right triangle. When we say solve, we mean find all the missing pieces, all the missing sides and angles. Got it? So the easiest one is the area. When you're doing area, they have to give you an angle, which is this A right here, you see it, and the two sides that touch that angle. They have to give you that. So two sides and the included angle, the elbow, the one that's in between the two sides. Got it? So when you do that, we have a C, a B, and a big A. So we're going to use this formula right here. And all we're going to do is 1/2 8 times 9 times the sine of 120. Okay, so the area of that triangle would be 31.18. It would be 0.5 times 8 times 9 times the sine of 120. So what I like to do is make my little chart here that says big A, big B, big C, little a, little b, little c. And as I find things, I put them on my chart, and I'll know when I'm finished. I have to find all 6 parts to a triangle. If at any time you can go to plan B and find it using another method, you do that. You got to be careful. Can I ever use a squared plus b squared equals c squared on this triangle?
No.
Why?
Because it's not a right triangle.
It's not a right triangle. So don't switch over to things you've learned. SOHCAHTOA doesn't work. 45, 45, 90 doesn't work. 30, 60, 90 doesn't work. Okay, it's not a right triangle. So I'm going to say here it's sine of big A over little a, don't have either one of those, equals sine of big B over 14, because little b is 14, equals sine of 98 degrees over 20. Do you see how I put those into this formula? Now I'm going to look for a full fraction. Do you see a fraction of those 3 fractions that has both information? The C one. You got it? So that's what I'm going to use to find the other 3 parts. So I look here. You have to find a fraction now that only has one thing missing, which is that second fraction. I'm going to cross multiply and let the math take you there. Don't try to reinvent this. It's 20 sine of B equals 14 sine of 98. Is the sine of B alone yet? What do we have to divide by?
20.
Divide by 20. Now big B, is that an angle or a side?
It's a side. Oh, wait, angle.
It's an angle, right? So what button are we going to have to push in order to find an angle?
The second.
The second button. So everybody in your calculator, just put this in your calculator and get a decimal. You're going to get an ugly decimal. So the first thing you're going to do is put in this fraction, and you get a 0.69 something. And then you do second sign of second answer. We're looking for an angle. You have to do the second sign whenever you're looking for an angle. So we have that big B equals 43.88 degrees. All right? So you can put that on the chart. Big B is 43.88 degrees. Can somebody find me big A? So now we subtract 43.88 and 98 from 180, and we get 38.12. You need that so you can solve the rest of the problem. So now I have sine of A, which is 38.12, over little a equals sine of 98 over 20. And we cross multiply again. So here we get a sine of 98 equals 20 sine of 38.12. Remember, put the lonely number in the front so that we don't have a problem when we do this. And to leave the a alone, we have to divide by sine of 98. And that should get us little a. So go ahead and do that to tell me what little a is. So when we put that in our calculators, we get 12.46. And that makes sense because the smallest angle has the smallest side across from it. The medium angle has the middle side across from it. And the biggest angle has the biggest side across from it. So it makes sense. Do that check to make sure you haven't made some silly mistake or keyed in something incorrectly in your calculator.